All right, welcome again to the Gabster channel. As you notice, this is going to be part 2 of the crossover build and design. So if you haven't watched part 1 yet, I will put a link on the top corner, so please watch that first. And this is a continuation of that part. And so carry on and enjoy the rest of the video. Take care. So the first thing I want to start with is determine the position of the inductors. There's a couple of ways to do crossovers. The easiest way is to separate your woofer, mid-range and treble into 3 boards and have them all separated. And this way you're going to have the least interference. If you have to put them all on one board like I'm doing, because I just wanted it to be like a nice display, and I didn't want to, have too many pieces and make a huge thing about it, because I want the crossover to be outside. Because I'm using them all on one board, I want to make sure that you're not going to get interferences between one inductor and another. And for those of you that think, oh, it's not that super important, it's extremely important. I've made 3 videos about positioning inductors, and I suggest, I'll put a link below, I suggest you look at them, because you can actually hear a lot of interferences. It's so easy to demonstrate, and I demonstrated with just a simple speaker and a signal generator. So once you, if you watch my other video, how to position the inductors, I came up to this position, and so I'm gonna go with that, and this is gonna be the least interference. We're gonna start by mounting the foil inductors. I already mounted one, just putting basically zip ties. So there's, as you can see here, holes. There's 4 holes for the zip ties, 2 zip ties basically, and 2 holes for the terminals. And that's usually the best way to mount them on. You can also, if you want to get crazy, you can also put some epoxy here later on, and to actually lock them in place. It's actually not a bad thing if your crossover is inside the speaker and subjected to lots of vibrations. If it's outside, it doesn't have to be too extreme. I'm just going to show you one. I already put one in. You can see the zip ties, they wrap all around. It's fairly simple. And here we go. So now we've got all 3 inductors here put in on the board. I'm gonna wait for the big heavy guy for towards the end, because there's no need to work with all the added extra weight. So this is the MyFlex capacitor. It's a 0.22, and these are 150, and that's going to be together. They're gonna make a really nice, decent capacitor between the 2 of them. It's a little tight, so I'm just going to pull it from down here instead. There we go. So that's one way to avoid, spending a fortune on super big capacitors. It's easy with the tweeter and the mid-range to a certain degree. Especially the tweeter, it doesn't need big capacitors. So this is where you could spend really good money on some good capacitors, like a Mandorf Supreme here. And the mid-range, you can go midway. It also depends on if the capacitor is in the line of the sound, then that's where you want to put the best capacitor possible. If it's just shunting with the ground, yes, it's important, but not as important as when it's in a straight line. Just going to be another MyFlex capacitor. This one's going to go with the MBGO capacitor. Together they will make a nice 30 microfarad. So now there's lots of series. How big should this capacitor be? Usually depends if it's like a 10 microfarad, I'll put a 0.1. In this case it's a 30, I'm putting a 0.22. There's no real science exactly about it, as long as it's not too big and not too small. If it's super small, it won't make a huge difference. Too big will start to compete with the other one, which may not be also bad, but sometimes. Yeah. But the reason I chose 0.22 is also it's the most affordable capacitor I could buy from MyFlex. They're fairly pricey. Once you start going a little higher, the price gets astronomically high. So 0.22 seems good. If like in the case here of the I'm using with the Mandorf capacitor, it's a 6.8. I'm going to be using a 0.1 with that one because it's not a very big capacitor. And just give you an idea, there's no right or wrong here, and everybody does things differently. So if you have a different opinion, that's also good. So this is not a Bible. I'm not the expert, but I'm just giving you guys what I know and what I usually do. It's hard to find good tutorials on. You see a lot of ones about small little crossover, but nothing at that scale. They're always not publicized, and so I'm trying to put out a little bit something that's a little bit more interesting. All right, we are getting there. So let's start. Couple capacitors left. These are the Mandorf for the tweeter, for the Impact Supremes. The big guy is going to go back here, and then we got the smaller guy will go in here, right there, and there is a small MyFlex that's also going to go in here. There you go. And so that's pretty much most of them, except for the big inductor that's going to go here. I'm just going to again wait on that till I'm done doing as much, because that's pretty heavy. And also, there's one thing I did not mention before, is there are two actuators here. Because my speakers have two different positions, there was a need to do different crossovers for each position. So one is gonna do some changes to the tweeter, and one is gonna do some changes to the mid-range. Now the flow of the circuit will go through one of the resistors. So the actuator is actually only adding or removing one resistor, so they're not completely in the line. And also these are it's quite an overkill. They're actually made for three-phase heavy industrial equipment. So you got three lines here, and you've got three positions actually, 0, 1, and 2. And each position change 3, so you have 3 and 3 and 3. So I'm going to put 3 lines per resistor, and this way, if one contact is not really good, you've got 2 other ones that are good. So at the end, you've got triple contact, so it's way more than enough. And these are super heavy duty actuators. So these are going to go in here. I got these off eBay too. They're a little bit too big. Kind of maybe something smaller would be better, but you know what? It's better to be a better contact anyways. So these are going to go there, and they do fit, so they will be going in here. I'm going to start soldering the back, and this is a big operation. I'll show you here and there a few clips. So I'm just showing you here a little bit how to wire things, it always looks easy when someone else is doing it till you try to do it yourself and you realize, well, hey, I've got different things here. In my case, there's a thickness of the board here, which take a little bit of the leads. Some leads are not very long. So ideally, if you have two long leads, you want to twist them together and solder them. So you need that. You can't just put them side by side and solder them. It's okay, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way is to have the two wires connecting together, and then solder is to actually keep that connection even stronger and better. So when the leads are short, like I've got to connect those three capacitors together and they don't reach each other to actually twist them, we're actually going to get some silver wire. I'm going to strip this silver wire as much, a nice big piece of it. And one more pass, and we should have some. There we go. So what you want to do is then you take a different wire, and then we're going to put that together on here. And if possible, actually gives them a good twist. And we're going to go here. And we're going to go here. And then I'm going to get some bigger pliers here. I'm going to twist those together. So these can twist together. This guy is going to go down to here. And this one will go here. And now, so we have solid connection between the three, but that's also not enough. And this is when soldering comes in the picture. So we are going to, you need a good strong soldering iron so you can actually get a really good, I need to soak really good. This is a soldering that has a bit of silver in it as well, so it makes even a better connection. So you could see now this one is already in. It's going to make it even better. There we go. This particular soldering iron has a little sectioning system, so it takes some of the fumes out, especially if you have it in the proper position. I'll do a little video about it. It's actually pretty cool. You don't have to have that. You can be outside if you don't want to smell too much fumes. So you could see that's one example. I'm still not completely finished. I might soak the whole wire with some more solder, but just always make sure that your things look good, have a good close inspection. And I'm leaving this because I might be tying this with another wire, so that's going to be a future connection. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And we're going to soak that whole thing with nice soldering. Good heat, things should flow very nicely. There you go. So we've got the two rails of the capacitor together. For those of you wondering what kind of soldering iron I'm using, I'm just going to move over the camera here. So what we have here, let's clean up the plier a little bit, gets a little crazy after a while. So this is the boy, it's actually, sorry, it's called the IOU, I'm hoping I'm spelling it right, so IOU, and it's 738H, and you could find it on eBay. The main reason I bought this thing is for the sole thing that this has a pump and it suctions the smoke. So this little tube here is a suction, and whatever smoke is coming goes into the tube and comes out from here. It has some internal filter, but And there's another little filter here, but for me I put another tube and it goes into my basement there, into the crawl space, so all the fumes will go completely out. And this is a really good thing because it really makes you be able to, work inside and not, get intoxicated by all these fumes, especially when you're doing a crossover like that big. There's so much soldering. You either need to be outside or have a nice, big fan that suction to the outside, or but this works really good. It also has another heat gun station here, and you can put different tips on it. It's fairly decent price. I believe I paid about a couple $100 for it. It has a nice holding station here. You can clean and all that stuff. I thought it was a pretty good deal, and that's what I've been using. So I'm putting the binding posts here, and I had to cut them a little bit shorter because they're a bit too long for my application. And so I just grinded the tips off, and I put a little slot just to help in when we're soldering a little easier. And so I'm just going to tighten those. So for example, you've got a whole bunch of resistors that need to be connected together, and they're all short. They're not going to be able to twist together. So with a silver wire, we're starting to see more progress here. I'm going to do the foil. I'm just going to show you quickly how that's done, or how I do it. Everybody does it differently, but that's kind of my way. First, we're going to put it just, again, I'm using silver wires here. And so let's take those out of the way. There you go, so you guys can see. So you can't really twist the foil. So what you do is you just put it like this, and you're going to wrap it around. And I'm just going to cut it first a little shorter. And you kind of just roll it like pretty much like a carpet around it. So that's what you can do. They're not easy to roll, but with a bit of patience, a couple pliers, you could do that. And it just goes like that, and now you pinch it. You could see how it's, now you can pinch it. Now I left these long on purpose, so you can, one half you can bend this way, the other half you're going to bend the other way, and you got a beautiful connection. And now you add some solder to that. There you go. So that's number one. We're going to do the other one. Some techniques to connecting a couple wires together. Say we have this wire here and this one, and we're going to connect those together. Also I'm connecting this as well, but let's start with those two. So the easiest way is to split them in half each, and you put one here and you twist this half together, and you twist this half together, and you can twist this half together. And this, in my case over here, I am going to also twist those three as one big twist. But if it was just two wire, you just split it in half and twist each half together. And now we have those two. And this is a technique for three. And now we have them all here. We're gonna wrap this guy on top here as well. There you go. So now we have a nice solid connection of all of them. And now you solder it. Securing the big inductor. All right, this is pretty much it. It's all finished. It was a big project, and this is the other side. So it's looking good. This is very heavy. Voila. I'm about to do the legs. I want to do my own. So I have a rod of brass here, and I'm going to make some cones out of it. Setting my lathe at 15 degrees, and we're going to be going back and forth till we have a point. So there we go, we have the cone made, so we're just going to polish that and then we're going to cut it. Alright, we've got all 4 legs. I put the screws in, I put some epoxy as well to secure them even better. So they will be going like that. And something like this. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've tried to be as thorough as possible. Hopefully it's not too long, but if you make it this far, please subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and some thumbs up, and you know the drill. Please be kind in your comments. Not too many people show this kind of advanced crossover design. It's always secret and hiding in the back somewhere. So be grateful, at least I'm showing you guys some of the stuff and sharing it with everybody, including schematics and all that stuff. I hope you enjoyed everything. If you like to know more about how the speakers were built, you can link to the video. It's going to be in this corner up there. And if you'd like to see some crazy DAC design, you can get a glimpse of my upcoming DAC that's starting to take shape. It's still in the construction phase, but you can see in the link below the first video I started talking about it, and I'm hoping to get the second one up soon once I get all the parts going. Hope you enjoyed this video one more time, and take care of yourself. See you again.